I was 3 hours into a solo Blackbird run over the pole, throttled at 84.5, when the cockpit filled with another plane's shadow, and State Route 71, perfectly aligned, flying inside my canopy. Rule 2 snapped into my head. Don't acknowledge another Blackbird at your altitude. I didn't speak. Later, Mission Control told me my transponder showed 2 aircraft, same tail number. How do you file that? They said it was a sensor glitch, Arctic interference, ghost radar, whatever made them feel better. But I know what I saw. That shadow wasn't on my glass for a second. It moved with me, matched every tilt and roll like it was anticipating. I tried a shallow dive to shake it. No change. My instruments flickered, horizon line bent sideways, and for half a second, I saw myself sitting in that cockpit, looking back at me. I throttled down, violating every rule we'd been drilled on. The shadow did the same. The air around the jet shimmered, like heat mirage at 50,000 feet. And then it peeled away, slow, deliberate, until it vanished into nothing but static on the glass. When I landed, the tech crew was already waiting. They didn't ask how the second craft landed before me, just stared like they already knew. One of them whispered, another one came back wrong. That night, I got a sealed file marked Echo Flight Incidents, level black. Inside was a photo of my jet, same serial number, taken 2 hours before I launched. They took me to a hangar I'd never seen before, north of Beale, unmarked, buried under desert dust. Inside were 4 SR-71s, identical right down to the scorch marks under the wings. But only one of them had my tail number. A man in a gray flight suit stood beside it. No insignia, no name tag, just a faint burn along his cheek that looked recent. He asked me one question. When you looked at the other craft, did it look back? I didn't answer. I didn't have to. He nodded like that confirmed something. Then he handed me a small metallic fragment, twisted, half-melted, humming faintly. Recovered from the wreckage, he said. But the problem was, I hadn't crashed. I asked what the hell this place was. He said it was where they store the ones that return differently. He told me to keep flying, pretend nothing happened, and never cross Mach 3. As I left, I passed a window. Behind the glass, my reflection stared back. Only this time, it blinked first. Next morning, my flight log showed 2 entries for the same day, one signed by me, and one by someone using my handwriting 3 hours earlier. My next flight was routine, at least it was supposed to be. Dawn's sortie over the Pacific, full afterburn, climbed to 83,000. But something felt off. The jet's hum had a different tone, almost like it was echoing inside my skull. At 84,000 feet, the stars began to move, not streaking, just shifting, like they were rearranging themselves into patterns. I throttled back, but the altimeter climbed on its own. Then the second cockpit appeared in my HUD. Same heading, same speed. Except my RSO wasn't breathing. He was frozen stiff, eyes wide, looking at something behind me. A voice, not over the radio, not inside the cockpit, but inside me said, "You've seen beyond the rules. Now you fly where they come from." The horizon folded. The instruments went black. For 11 seconds, everything was silent. No air, no sound, no movement, just the faint ticking of my wristwatch. Then it restarted, engines roaring, Earth below, but the stars were wrong. They weren't where they should be. When I landed, Beale didn't answer my calls. The base was empty, lights on, coffee still steaming, but no one left on Earth to greet me. I stepped out of the jet, but the air felt heavier, like gravity was rewritten just for me. The runway lights buzzed louder than they should, flickering in patterns that almost looked deliberate. Then I saw it, my State Route 71, parked exactly where I left it. Except it was already there before I landed. 2 identical planes, same tail number, same heat, still rising off the engines. One of them was cooling down. The other was still humming. My helmet comm crackled. Habu, 01, report altitude. It was my own voice, my own tone, cadence, coming from the second jet. I froze. Inside the canopy of the other State Route 71, I saw myself. Same oxygen mask, same eyes staring back, except mine blinked a second slower. He raised his hand and held up 6 fingers. Rule 6. If you experience lost time during a mission, report it as equipment malfunction. The air pressure dropped, like the base was exhaling, and the lights dimmed one by one, leaving only that reflection of me across the tarmac. Then he climbed back into the cockpit and took off, without igniting the engines. Radar logged his departure at Mach 4.2, straight up. Command told me to file it as phantom telemetry. But when I checked the hangar later, both jets were gone. Only my flight suit was still dripping fuel. 3 nights later, every Habu pilot on base got the same encrypted message. No sender, no timestamp. Just an attached audio file labeled SR-71 Brief 06. When we played it, all we heard was breathing. Not human breathing. Mechanical, layered, distorted, as if coming from inside the fuselage. Then a voice cut through. "You flew too high. The air remembers." Static flooded the channel, but under it, there were coordinates. They pointed to somewhere north of the Arctic Circle, exactly where Reeves vanished. Command called it a signal spoof, but the comm text swore the transmission came from inside Beale's perimeter, from Hangar 14. Except Hangar 14's been sealed since '89. That's where they stored the first Blackbird, tail number 17,972, the one that supposedly disintegrated over the Pacific. We broke protocol and went there at 0300. Doors were cold to the touch, metal humming with low-frequency vibration. When we finally pried it open, the inside was dark. No dust, no decay, just a faint blue glow bleeding from a cockpit. The State Route 71 inside looked perfect, but every surface shimmered, like heat haze trapped in metal form. And on the canopy glass, someone had written with a gloved finger, "Don't break Rule 9. The next morning, Hangar 14 was empty again. But Flight Control logged a new launch at 4:12 a.m. Mach 3.9, no transponder. Destination, unknown. Call sign, Habu 01. The following week, satellite surveillance caught a Blackbird silhouette over the Pacific, moving at speeds no airframe should survive. No filed flight plan, no radar trace, just a wake in the ionosphere. The analysts said it wasn't ours. Beale went into lockdown. Every pilot was grounded, flight logs erased, Rule 9 repeated like a prayer. Habu pilots don't discuss what happens above 80K. But things started changing in the base atmosphere, literally. Clocks ran out of sync. Shadows on the tarmac stretched the wrong way. And at night, when we looked east, the stars seemed closer. The scientists blamed magnetic anomalies from solar storms. Except the readings matched one specific point in the sky, 85,000 feet directly above Beale. Reeves's voice came through again on the maintenance frequency, 3 seconds of static, then, still flying. Radar picked up something circling the base at impossible altitude. No heat signature, no transponder. Every time someone tried to lock onto it, their system reset to Mach 3.9, exactly like the last ghost flight. Then the power grid failed. All at once, every Blackbird canopy at Beale reflected the same thing. A pilot sitting in the cockpit, helmet down, breathing slow. But none of the planes were occupied. That's when Command issued a new, unwritten rule. Rule 10. If you see yourself in the sky, do not look twice. I've got a new flight order stamped, polar return. Altitude clearance, unrestricted. And under crew, it lists only one name. Captain Reeves. Dawn at Beale came pale and soundless. The entire flight line was empty. No chatter, no engines, just the distant hum coming from Hangar 14 again. My mission card waited on the console. Polar return. Signature block. Reeves, C. I suited up. The gear felt colder than usual, like it had been outside, not locked in storage. My RSO slot was empty, but the headset crackled as I sealed the canopy. "You're late," a voice said. It was Reeves. Calm, distant. I rolled to the runway. Tower didn't answer, but the lights came on by themselves. Throttle to full. Mach 1, 2, 3, and then the world melted away. At 84,500 feet, the air went black. At 85,000, the stars began moving. Rule 8 screamed in my mind, but I didn't descend. The sky rippled open, thin as film, and beyond it, I saw dozens of Blackbirds, all inverted, flying in perfect formation. Each canopy reflected my face. Each tail number was mine. Then Reeves' voice again. "This is where the air folds, and time forgets who's flying who." My instruments showed negative altitude. Earth above, stars below, and something shaped like the State Route 71 itself, curled through the horizon, impossibly long, its skin rippling like liquid metal. The last thing I remember was touching the throttle. Everything froze mid-motion, like the universe had taken a breath. They found the jet's shadow still on radar 2 hours before I took off. Now, I sit in Hangar 14's cockpit every night. The plane hums like it's dreaming. And sometimes, when I look up through the canopy, I swear I see myself, still climbing. If you ever fly above 80,000 feet, and the air starts remembering you, don't look twice.